everything. And then in the browser, when I turn off my connection to the cloud here, you're going to see that I'm using voices that are baked into the browser and or available because I've added them through my settings and accessibility features. So you can actually download voices that you like the sound of better or you understand better in a language learning situation. For translation, we're going to see that I'm using a model from Facebook called MBART 50, which has 50 languages in it, and is available through Hugging Face, and it works in the browser because of Transformers.js. And then I think I may have to skip OCR for time today, but another use case, and I want to mention this as well before we dive into the demo. LingoWise is for both the absolute beginner, and sometimes I turn on Dutch, which I know none of, and gives you the giggles because it sounds like English and German in different spots. It's kind of funny when you're doing it by yourself. And I do, however, speak some Italian, French, Spanish, and a whole lot of German. So I'm going to demo in German today, but imagine that you are a fluent German speaker for a moment. You're reading a book in German, as I am. And you come across words that would just make your vocabulary richer. You're understanding from context, but you love to collect words. I'm kind of a language nerd, if you will, in addition to JavaScript. So I take a picture with my phone, and OCR translates that in real time, and I can turn that into cards and memorize them and flip through them and practice them so that I can use them and weave them into the conversation. But actually, I don't need to weave them in. I can rely on Google Translate to do that. So, I mean, I can rely on Gemini to do that. I misspoke there. I can rely on Gemini to weave in the words that I've looked up and that I'm studying into the conversation we are about to have. So, as I said, we have the possibility of going along a conversation starter and sort of playing a skit through that you might encounter on your travels. And we can freeform it with any vocabulary that we want and have any conversation that we want with Gemini. So, before I show you my conclusion, let me slide over now to LingoWise version 3, very much a working prototype. As you can see here in the URL, I'm running this off my local server. This isn't even published yet. And later, if you get your phones ready for the end here, I will show you a QR code where you can subscribe to or sign up for the private beta that I'm going to have, probably free of charge to get your valuable feedback. So let me give you the brief tour for time. We have skits like At the Market, which are designed for the beginning language student. And you can see that we've got a bunch of pre-made cards already so that you can take a look at how to say certain things like a bunch of carrots. I am there.
I'm bunt.
I'm bunt. I wonder if this is fully in respecting the German. That should have been I'm bunt, but I'm going to move on for a minute. It might just need a refresh and show you what's here. Let's say at the market we want to buy tomatoes, and this is Google Translate. I always use the so that I get the gender of the noun that I'm learning. And we're on the cloud, and that's instant, right? And we've got die Tomaten, and I can simply hit enter again, and I've made that card, as you see below, right? And so I can pick up speed by just hitting enter a couple of times. I can say I want cucumbers in my salad. So we've got cucumbers here. This is Google Translate. Hit enter, boom, it's just right there because I'm connected to the cloud. However, if I turn the cloud off, let's just throw everything into browser mode, offline mode. This panel's built for you. This was for this event. This is not part of the final product. The final product will automatically switch depending on your internet connection. So now we have, if you look down here at the status bar, MBART 50 doing the translation, my model that I've pre-cached, pre-downloaded, and cached in the Chrome browser. And what else do we need in the salad? Well, I think we need lettuce, right? That's like the basis of a salad. So 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. There we are. Okay? So it works. A little slower, but I can live with that if I'm stuck on a plane and I'm in Dutch and I'm going to the Netherlands. Okay? Now, for time, let me also show you that the pronunciation should work as well.
Die Salat.
So there's a new voice that we didn't hear before that goes with Dutch. And if I speak a word, so let me make that card real quick. Also, the speech to text works. Think of something else we can use in our salad quickly. Anybody?
Croutons.
Croutons? And do they sell that at a fresh veg market though? We're going to have trouble with that.
Olives.
Olives. Great, great choice. Thank you. Thank you as well. I just chose something else. The olives. That happened in the browser, not online. And then we instantly got the translation again through the browser. Now, for time, I think I'm going to switch back to chat because this is the goal today. I think this is the subscribable feature of this app, but I'm curious what you think. So imagine you studied the words that we have through spaced repetition and a standard flip card pack, and that you now come to chat about the market.
Guten Tag, was darf es sein?
And I am going to ask, and I'm going to use my keyboard shortcuts because they're faster for me. Haben Sie frische Tomaten? Ja?
Ja, aber heute sind die Tomaten im Angebot. 1 Kilo kostet nur 3 Euro. Sind Sie interessiert?
So he came back, for those of you, anybody speak German?
Kind of.
Kind of. He came back with, and I'll just paraphrase quickly for time, yeah, today we have tomatoes, and actually they're on sale, and I swear I've not seen that before. That's a tack that the AI took to sell me the tomatoes. Usually it says, do you want cherry tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, what do you want? Today they're on sale, so it's a surprise for me. And a kilo costs, whatever he said, 3 euro only. And he says, are you interested? So watch what happens when I say, ja, geben Sie mir bitte 1 Kilo.
Sehr gerne. Hier ist 1 Kilo Tomaten für 3 Euro. Sonst noch etwas?
Do you want anything else? So I got my, my kilo in the shopping basket, and now I pretend that I've learned the word carrots. It's down here, right? You might review.
Die Karotte.
Die Karotte. There's a slight delay in this room today, probably because we're all on the same internet that I don't have at home. It usually flows a little bit more, but that's okay. I'm sure you understand. So right here, I'm going to go for, ja, ich hätte bitte gerne einige Karotte. Okay, enter, keyboard shortcut. Ein paar Karotten.
Ein paar Karotten. Soll es ein ganzes Bund sein oder nur ein paar einzelne Karotten?
So I said I wanted a few just then. I didn't even listen to what I just said. And it came back and said, I would like to know, do you want a whole bunch, ein Bund? Or did you mean you really just want loose carrots, like a few, ein paar, is what we're discussing. And I will just say for time here, I'll wrap this up and say, geben Sie mir ja ein Bund, bitte. Okay?
Oh.
Ein Bund Karotten, bitteschön. Das sind 400 Gramm für 2 Euro. Die
So-
Äpfel sehen heute auch sehr gut aus, frisch vom Bauernhof. Möchten Sie vielleicht ein paar Äpfel probieren?
He's trying to give me a taste of apples. Probieren is to taste an apple, right? So he's offering me a taste like you sometimes get in a real market and trying to sell me more. But in regard to, I want to give you time for questions and other things, I'm going to wrap this up and say das ist alles and show you what happens, okay? Das ist alles.
Also, 1 Kilo Tomaten für 3 Euro und ein Bund Karotten für 2 Euro. Das macht zusammen 5 Euro.
I'm going to give him 6 just so he can make change. And no, I'll just wrap it up. Also, 5 Euro. Pretend I gave it to him.
Genau, 5 Euro. Bitteschön.
and I'll wrap it up. Take my stuff. Danke, auf Wiedersehen.
Bitte schön, auf Wiedersehen und einen schönen Tag noch.
Have a good day. And that's it, okay? So we're gonna have these guided, I don't wanna say the word scripted because they're not, they're spontaneous. These are guided scripts with a goal. Shopping at the market, making reservations, at the bakery. I'm gonna have a good time thinking up these things and taking on board your suggestions. And these are real scenarios that you can do when you get to the country and you want to learn something of the local customs and lingo, of course. And then we have the free-form conversations as well, which are based on the pack that you have opened. So the reason the cards appear below here is because, interestingly, they not only correspond to what you just studied, but they provide the context for the LLM. So the LLM will pick up on the topic, and it's instructed or prompted to ask interesting questions and draw you out, as if you were chatting with a stranger, to try and boost your conversational skills. So you can see we're not teaching grammar here. There will be short phrases called Redewendungen, little idiom sentences that you memorize, and they get you something. Like, ich möchte ein Zimmer für 2 Personen. I need a room for 2 people. Or komm, wir machen uns ein belegtes Brot, which I use all the time. Come on, let's make a sandwich. I'm kidding. That was probably one of my first survival sentences in high school. But you remember them. You memorize these survival sentences and they stick with you. Particularly if you've had an experience with somebody and made a connection.